to Morale 5. I invite you to take a good sitting position, and by this I mean sit tall. Press your sit bones into the floor, lift your gaze, and turn your attention inwards, focusing for a moment on your breath. To ground ourselves and center ourselves today, we open with 3 ohms. Exhale, inhale. Om. Inhale. Om. Inhale. Release your hands. Word of the day is adaptability stroke flexibility. So if the picture that you're looking at the minute looks reasonably uncluttered and free and sort of a calm looking picture, but if you could see what I'm looking at, you'd see absolute and utter chaos. Because I spent the day yesterday working with a pal of mine, helping them make a video and also editing it afterwards. So it was the whole day at it, but the whole place has been turned upside down as a result of that. And little did I realise when I was building this place, it was to be a yoga studio, but I didn't actually ever think it was going to be a media studio as well, which is kind of what it's turned into, because there's all sorts of expensive toys lying around me as I speak. And as I was charging around the place this morning, trying to clean it up and tidy it and give this aurora of calmness and tranquility, I was musing about adaptability and going with the flow through a particular set of circumstances. I'm now involved in helping out a friend of mine making videos for another organisation, and I'm kind of smiling at myself because, you know, it takes this a degree of flexibility of right, this is how this is now, and this is where we get to be, and you don't get to be flexible by not practicing being flexible. Being stuck in you go head to head with something, that's where we stay, or at least it's where I stay. It's like butting up against the wall. But being able to, in that famous example of being like a river flowing around the big stone struts in our lives to go wherever the river or wherever life is taking me. And in my situation, yoga has really taught me to be really very flexible, to knowing that everything changes all the time, and the contrast of that, to contrast that which is never changing, a place of peace in the world. So we adjust the course of our lives to come back into a place of quietness, of peace. That's why we keep moving. We just keep moving. We keep stuck in one place. We move away from that which is naturally ours, but being the ability to be flexible. And my lovely studio here, which is completely upside down, is a part of that flexibility. So of course then, obviously on the mat, we know that if we don't move our bodies, particularly as we get older, we get really stuck. Our bodies get stiff, our joints, and we get worse and worse and worse, and stiffness piles up and piles up and piles up. So it works on both levels. Okay, let's make our way into down dog and work on our flexibility. Place your hands under your shoulders, your knees under your hips, turn your toes under and lift your hips high. Separate your fingers as wide as you can, parallel your index fingers. Grip the floor at your fingertips. Externally rotate your upper arms, lift your hips high. Invite your heels to come towards the floor, engage your quads, and look at a point between your fingers. I'm just feeling how good that feels this morning. You might be feeling slightly stiff after a night of rest, or perhaps you were doing something athletic yesterday and you might be feeling slightly stiff. And just to move these muscles in this way introduces and grows our flexibility. Come onto your hands and knees and moving into cat-cow. Exhale, round your back up. Inhale, lift your head, look up, sinking down between your shoulder blades. Body following breath. And you might like to try that lovely ocean breathing, that whispering sound at the back of your throat, your ujjayi breath, without forcing it. The fact that we can hear it and feel it enables us to remember. We remember, we forget. And as we're focusing on our breath, we couldn't be more present. Coming back to a place of stillness, move your hands forward, knees back slightly, turn toes under and back up into down dog. And this time bringing your dog for a walk by bending one knee very deeply and pushing into the heel of the other leg. Body following breath. And from here, moving into plank. Float your shoulders over your wrists, and of course you can do plank on your knees. Push through your heels, lift your head, look up. Engage your core. Making your way onto your hands and knees. Right hand, arm out in front, left leg up behind, flex and point. Heel in line with hip, hip in line with shoulder. Stretch the tips of your fingers away from the tips of your toes. And switch. And release to the floor. And back into down dog, but this time it's three-legged dog. Lift your hips high, then lift your right leg up and flex and point it. Look at a point between your thumbs. Just careful that your lifted leg, the knee of your lifted leg is pointing towards the floor so that your right hip is not high. And switch to the other foot. Lift your left leg up, flex and point it. leg to the floor, come onto your hands and knees. And moving back into tiger, but this time right arm, right leg off the floor, so it's a little bit unbalanced. Switch to the other side, left hand and left foot off the floor. Release, and then cross on your hands and knees, cross your right knee behind your left knee and sit back on your ankles. So you're sitting with your legs stacked. Sit upright, invite your shoulder blades together on your back. I'm going to come into lion pose, so if you wish, close your eyes, open your mouth wide, stick your tongue down your chin and go ha. So we'll do that 3 times. So inhale, nice and loud, ha, and twice more. Ha, right from the very base of your belly, and again. Ha. Make your way onto your hands and knees, switch the cross of your legs and sit back again. Inhale. Ha! And twice more. Ha! And again. Ha! And move onto our backs and we'll come into leg lifts. Clasp your hands behind your head, interlace your fingers. Bring your elbows into the side of your face. Lift your head and shoulders off the floor. Bend your knees, bring your knees into your chest. Inhale your legs up. Exhale, lower your legs to the floor. Inhale, bring them back up. If you have a sore back, do it 1 leg at a time or with both knees bent. See if you can do 2 sets of 5 or whatever you can do today. Come and make your way up to standing, moving into crescent, hand on hip. Okay, lift your left arm up by your ear, place your right hand on your hip, move your hips to the left, your torso to the right, be as sideways as possible. Root down with both feet into the floor, squeeze the whole of your inner legs towards each other. Tighten your glutes, be even more sideways. And just lift your gaze so that your chin is not stuck in your chest. Inhale back up to center and switch to the other side. Be as sideways as possible in the other direction. Back to center, and coming into power pose, head to knee. Lift your arms out in front and then invite the head of the arm bones back deep into the shoulder sockets. Bend your knees, lower your hips, round your back, bring your forehead to your knees, stretch your arms out in front. hands bound. And again, your feet can be in or hip width apart, or feet together, more difficult. Bend your knees, round your back, bring your forehead to your knees, stretch your arms up, and then sit back. Press down, stand up. And the last power pose one, lift your arms up overhead, arms shoulder width apart, hands, palms towards each other, bend your knees, lower your hips, engage your core, gaze straight ahead. Release. From here we move into tree pose. Shift your weight onto your left foot and place your right foot, ankle, shin or upper inner thigh, whatever works for you. Hands to your heart. Stay here, more doable. More difficult, lift your arms overhead, press your palms together. Square towards the front of the mat. Release your arms and switch to the other side. Shift your weight onto your left foot and place your left foot against your inner thigh. Place your hands where it works for you. Release. And then moving into warrior two, step your feet wide apart. Turn your right foot out. Line up your front heel so it bisects the arch of the back foot. Hands, arms in line with each other. Shoulders. Bend your right knee, sink down. Careful not to lean your upper body over your right knee. Look out over your right hand arm. Sink down even more. Careful that your front knee is in line with your second toe. Press the outside edge of your back foot into the floor. Engage your quad of the back leg. Straighten your front knee. Pivot your right foot. Pivot your left foot, bend your left knee. And again, just checking where your torso is in relation to your front knee. Should be upright, shouldn't be leaning over your front knee in any way. Back foot into the floor, engage the quad. Front knee out in line with root of second toe. Press down, stand up. Moving into Trikonasana. If you use a block, now is the time to get one. I might use one this morning. Place your block on the little toe side of your right foot. And again, just checking that your feet are in good alignment. Front heel, bisect the arch of the back foot. Then lean forward, this time over your right leg. And place your hand on the block or on the floor. Lift your top arm up to vertical. Engage your quads. Press down with your back foot into the floor. Roll your left hip back. And either look up or look out in front. Press down, stand up and pivot. Take your block with you, right foot in, left foot out. Place your block. Inhale your arms up. Lean forward, place your left hand on the floor or on the outside of your shin, and if you wish, bring your top arm up to vertical or place your top hand arm on your right hip. Press your back foot into the floor, engage your quads. Press down, stand up, and step your feet together into mountain. Root down equally with both feet into the floor, flare your toes, squeeze your ankles, shins, inner thighs together, press tailbone down, engage your glutes, engage your core, stand tall, broaden across your collarbones, move your ears back, stretch the arm down, stretch fingers down, turn into your breath. Moving into high lunge, walk to the back of your mat, inhale your arms up, step your right foot forward with attitude and intention, lift your back heel up to vertical, look up, stretch front knee away from back heel, torso upright. Press down, stand up and pivot. Right foot in, left foot out, turn to the other end of the mat. Lift your back heel up, sink down, lift back of back knee up. Lower your arms, step your feet together and come to down dog. Settling deeply into down dog. Come onto your knees and then come and lie on your back. Recline eagle. Bend your knees, place your heels in front of your hips on the floor. Then lift your right leg and cross your right thigh over your left thigh and take the double wrap if it's available to you. If not, just outside shin to outside shin. And then lift your left arm and wrap the right underneath. And again, if this is not available to you, just bring your elbows together and your forearms and the palms of your hands together. And then lifting your elbows so that your forearms are parallel to the ceiling. And then bending your knees, bring your knees even closer. Make both feet active, press your lower back into the floor. And switch the cross of your legs, the cross of your arms. and release. From here, tiger leg lifts. Come onto your hands and knees. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips, knees hip width apart. Stretch your right leg out behind you, toes on the floor. Inhale, lift your leg up. Exhale, lower to the floor. And do that 6 times, moving with your breath. Pointing your right knee at the floor. And if you're not moving with your breath, ask yourself why. And switch to the other side. From here we'll move to pigeon. So invite your right knee to come forward towards the outside of your right hand, right wrist. Walk your back, knee, leg back behind you. Lower down onto your elbows. Clasp your hands. Then press the top of the back foot into the floor and lift the knee off the floor. Switch through down dog. And then pigeon on the left hand side. Walk the back knee back, lower down. Make your way onto your hands. Come and sit on your left hip. Bend your back knee, bring your heel to your hip and reach back with your right hand. And clasp the foot. And square towards the front of the mat. Sit tall. Release that, switch through down dog. And over onto the other side. Right knee forward. Back knee on the floor, bend it, bring your heel to your hip. Clasp your foot. And square towards the front of the mat again. Release that foot to the floor and step back into plank. You can do it on your hands or you can do it on your elbows. Float your shoulders over your wrists, squeeze your heels together. Inner shins, inner thighs, engage your quads, engage your core, look out. Dog. And we're going to come into plank with our legs crossed. To do that, pivot your ankles to the right and then lift your right foot across the front of your body. So you're on the outside edge of your right foot and you're on the inner edge of your left foot. Float your shoulders over your wrists. Hips off the floor, gaze out in front, engage your quads, feet as far away from each other as you can manage, with a modicum of grace. Lower gently to the floor, keeping your feet wide apart, bend your elbows, lower your chest to the floor and look away from your knees. Forearms vertical, squeezing your elbows towards each other. From here, lift your hips off the floor, back through down dog. Pivot your ankles to the left. Take your weight on your inner right foot and stretch your left leg across your body. So you're on the outside edge of your left foot. Float your shoulders over your wrists. And again, you're in plank with your legs crossed. Lower gently to the floor, and then bend your elbows, lower your chest to the floor and look away from your feet, your knees. Forearms vertical, squeeze your elbows towards each other. Coming back out of that, we're coming into elevated thunderbolt. So kneel up straight, turn your toes under, more doable. Heels together, knees apart, more difficult. Heels together, knees together, torso upright. Squeeze your shoulder blades together and down your back, move your ears back, and then press down with your sit bones into your heels. And release your hands to the floor, walk your knees back. Moving into 8 angle pose. Float your shoulders forward, bend your elbows, lower your chest to the floor, chin to the floor, hips off the floor, turn toes under, inner heels together. Forearms vertical, so your hands need to be somewhere around your bikini line. Squeeze your elbows together, point your elbows towards the ceiling. Stretch your legs out behind you and then roll over onto your back. Moving into reclined big toe. Curl your right knee in, clasp your right thigh with both hands, stretch your right leg up towards the ceiling, push through your heel of your right leg, push through your heel of your left leg, engaging the quads of both legs. Draw your right leg closer to you. Press your lower back into the floor. Invite your shoulder blades onto your back. Press your head into the floor. Bend your knee, release it, and curl your left knee in, clasp the thigh again. Make both legs active. into endless pose. It's a while since we've done this one. Place your elbow under your head, place your hand under your head. Then curl your left knee in, and either clasp the outside edge of your foot with your hand, your left hand, or clasp the big toe with the first two fingers. And stretch your heel up. Engage your quads, push through both heels. And switch to the other side. And look up. Release that foot, and we'll go to gatekeeper, kneeling up straight, knees hip width apart. Stretch your right leg out to the side, so your heels should be bisecting the shin of the left leg. Your foot will be sort of halfway across the front of the short end of your mat. So if your left knee is along the front edge of your mat, your right foot is halfway along the short end of your mat. And then place your hands under your shoulders, float your shoulders over your wrists, and bring the sole of your right foot to the floor. Engage your quads. You can come up onto your tops of your hands, fingers if you wish. And you should be feeling it now in the arch of your right foot. And you might manage to smile. And switch to the other side. Stretch your left leg out. Bring the sole of the left foot to the floor. Again, setting up both legs properly. Turn your sit bones up. You're feeling it now in the arch of your left foot, and possibly your toes might be beginning to cramp as well. And that's all good, because you're working them in ways that you don't normally work them. Can you engage your quad of the left leg? Can you smile? And switch again. Stretch the right leg out. And this time, walk your right hand all the way around until your right elbow bumps off your right knee. Place your left hand on your hip. And lift your top arm over your ear, or you can keep your left hand in your hip. And look up towards your left palm. Pressing your right foot into the floor, engaging your quad. Inhale back to centre and switch to the other side. Stretch your left foot out. Walk your left hand all the way around until your elbow bumps into your left knee. And lift your right arm over the top of your ear and look up. Left foot on the floor. Engage your left quads. And back to centre. Camel, hands on hips, knees hip width apart, feet hip width apart, flare your toes, hands on hips, squeeze your elbows back, move hips forward, tighten your glutes, and lift your head and look up. Keep moving your hips forward, keep tightening your glutes. Go back as far as feels comfortable for you today. Keep squeezing your elbows. Inhale and come all the way back up. Moving into kneeling sage. Stretch your right leg out in front. And move it slightly out towards the right hand side of your mat. Turn your toes up so that your right sole is vertical. Inhale your hands up and then place your hands either on your shin, your ankle, on two blocks, on the tips of your fingers either side of your mat, and then inhale, stretch forward, exhale, inviting your shin to come towards your chin. Inviting your chin to come towards your shin. So engaging your quad, push through the heel, sole of your right foot should be vertical. Inhale back up and switch feet. Front foot back, back foot forward. Torso upright, expand up, breathe in, exhale, hinging forward. Back to centre and come onto your hands and knees. Elevated bow, same arm, same leg. So taking your weight onto your left hand, your left knee, bend your right knee, bring your heel to your hip, reach back with your right hand and clasp your ankle. This may be as far as you go or lift your knee off the floor. Lifting your knee as high as you can without falling over. And release and switch over onto the other leg. Shift your weight onto your right hand, your right knee, bend your left knee, reach back, clasp your left ankle and lift your knee up as high as you can. And release. We're going to do the same again, but this time opposite hand to opposite foot. And shift your weight onto your left hand, bend your left knee, reach back with your right hand, so you've got your opposite hand and your opposite foot, and lift your left knee off the floor. And again, lifting your knee up as high as you can. Gently release that and switch again. Opposite hand, opposite foot. So you're shifting your weight onto your right hand. You're lifting your opposite foot off the floor, left knee. Right. Lifting your right foot off the floor. reaching back with the opposite hand, the left, and kicking your knee up and back. Kick your heel up and back. And release that. And come and sit on your right hip with your knees bent and out to the left. Stacking the top of your left foot so it bisects the arch of the right foot. Place your right hand on your top knee, place your left hand behind you, and again sit tall. And if you're falling over, prop something under your hip to stop you from falling over. Look over your right shoulder. And switch. Over onto your left hip. Place your left hand on top of your right knee, right hand behind you. Sit tall. Keeping your legs and your hips where they are, release your front knee and switch hands. Place your right hand on the opposite knee and place the other hand behind you and look over your front shoulder. And again, sitting tall, sometimes I like to get something under my back hand, enables me to sit even taller. Initiating the twist from way down in your lower abdomen. And again, switching over onto your other hip. Right hip, knees, feet to the left. Place your right hand on your left knee. Place your left hand on your right knee. Place your right hand behind you. Sit tall. So it's an open twist. And the other one, the one before this, is a closed twist. Pose before this, not the iteration of this. You feel the difference. And release that. And coming into easy pose. Cross your shins. If it's too difficult for your knees, what you could do is just stretch one leg out like that and cross it over like that. If that's any easier for you. Inhale your arms up and exhale, hinge forward. Come up onto the tips of your fingers. And every inhalation, creeping them forward, and every exhalation, sinking down. And back to centre, coming into staff pose. Stretch your legs out in front of you. Turn your hands, your fingers towards your feet. Hands are 6 or 8 inches behind you. Press down with your heels into the floor. Squeeze your inner shins, inner thighs. Lift your chest. Engage your biceps. Look up. So you're leaning slightly back in this case. Press your sit bones into the floor. and release. And then turn your hands so that your fingers are pointing away from you. And then moving into E-stretch, lift your hips off the floor, walk your feet forward, bring your soles of your feet to the floor, your toes to the floor. Squeeze your legs together, tighten your glutes, look up. And release. And then bend your knees, clasp the outside of your feet with both hands, gaze straight ahead. Just walk your feet slightly forward but keeping your knees bent. Come and lie down your back and coming into bridge pose. Bend your knees, place your heels in front of your hips. Lift your hips off the floor, walk your arms in underneath until you can clasp your hands together. Shrug your shoulders towards each other. Pressing your feet into the floor, engage your quads, lift your hips even higher. Engage your glutes. Just check is your chin stuck in your chest and lift it out of your chest. And then just gently roll down vertebrae by vertebrae. Move into, see where we are time-wise, and come into supine twist. Stretch your right leg out, roll over onto your right hip, bend your left knee, place your foot on the floor. Then roll over onto your right hip and bring your left inner knee to the floor. If you wish, you can place your right hand on top of your left knee and stretch your left hand arm out behind you. Look behind you. Inhale back to centre. Stretch your left leg out. Bend your right knee, bring your heel to your hip. Roll over onto your left hip until your inner right knee comes to the floor. And again, you can hold it with your left hand and stretch your right arm out behind you. And come back to centre, and then bring both knees into your chest and give yourself just the most delicious, loving, warming hug. Grateful to yourself for giving yourself this time today. And it's time to prepare for relaxation. Stretch arms out, stretch legs out. Hands by your side, turn your palms up. And then just sigh your out breath out. You might like to do that twice more. Sinking into the floor. might like to stay here now, or if you wish, begin to deepen your breathing. Start to move your hands, your feet, perhaps give yourself a stretch. And then if you wish, bend your knees, roll to one side and make your way to sitting. Bring your hands to your heart, turn in one last time to honour ourselves, each other and the practice. We'll close with one Om. Exhale, inhale. Om. Thanks for practicing, thanks for coming to practice, and as usual, if you like this practice, do give me a like, a share or subscribe to me on YouTube. See you on the mat.